Hi there, everyone. I'm Tyler, and I'm here with the Gauntlet, which, if you watch many of my videos, I play a lot with the Gauntlet. Some of the most wonderful people on Earth. Absolutely fantastic people. Some of the best role-playing you're ever going to find. Supportive. Tons of games. If you want to find the Gauntlet, we're on Facebook. We have a G+. You can find us at gauntlet-rpg.com. And I think that if you go out and you want to role play and you want to give it a shot on video hangouts, there is nowhere better to find than the Gauntlet. We're going to be playing Pigsmoke, which is a wonderful game, kind of a funny, humorous game, and kind of a little bit of a PvP game, because we're going to be teachers at a magical academy, and we're doing what teachers really do, which is avoiding teaching these terrible children and backstabbing each other so we advance in our departments, and publishing things that are, you know, very nice and useful, sure, so we can raise our reputations. During the course of this, we're going to kind of deal with the hostility of the bureaucracy. And we're going to be dealing with an administration that really doesn't care that much about our teaching and our own well-being. And we're going to be dealing with snotty little children who probably should be sitting at home and not in a wizard's school at all. But we're going to be doing the summer term at Pigsmoke, which means we don't have quite as many students. And the students we have either not done well in the regular terms, or are so ambitious they've come back for the summer term to try and get ahead. And generally speaking, the teachers that stay for the summer term are ones who either have nowhere else to go, or are trying to move ahead in their departments, or have become so addled that they don't realize it's summer. We're going to, with that, kind of get into the... I like to think of our tone as a little bit like Harry Potter, a little bit like Terry Pratchett's The Unseen University, a little bit on the silly side, a little bit on the wacky side. That doesn't mean that we're going like Gonzo, but I think there is just an innate humor to Pigsmoke. We can, when we start here, we'll talk a little bit about our tone and see what we all would kind of like to see. But I think that Pigsmoke itself does lend towards some humor. Before we start, I want to say we have the Gauntlet inclusivity policy, which means that basically we're all here as friends. We're all here to support each other and take care of each other and have fun playing a game together. We have an open table policy, so if something goes, you know, it's going astray and you're just not having fun, you can always say, you know, I think this is not for me. Walk off the table. That's perfectly fine. It won't hurt my feelings. I would hate to see anybody go, but I completely understand. Along with that, we have the X card, which, if you don't know or haven't played with it before, if something becomes problematic, like it's, you know, it's hurting your fun, if it's too personal, if it gets too bloody, if it just, you know, is a topic that you think, this is something I don't want to delve into, you could do something like this. You could put something in the chat. You can even say, hey, Tyler, I think I'd like to X that. There are no questions asked. I may find out, you know, kind of just the context so I can know where I'm working from. We'll rewind and we'll set off again with a reframed scene. Again, no questions asked, though. If people feel like saying, you know, kind of explaining why, or if there's something you want to get off your chest about it, feel free. We have a chat here in the video. We have our event page, or you can just unload a little bit here on the video. All of these are perfectly fine. Again, we're friends at a table, so we're here to take care of each other and make sure we're all having a good time. With that in mind, I think I'm going to have folks introduce their amazing teachers here for Pigsmoke. So I'm going to start with you, Pavel. Tell us a little bit about your character.
I am playing Mortimer Blackrose. Mortimer Blackrose, I totally imagined that he came in maybe like in the middle of the previous semester to replace a lady who went for their like pregnancy vacations. No, pregnancy. There was a word for it.
leave.
Yeah. And so he is like really feels this pressure to like perform well because maybe then they will keep him. He doesn't come from like a rich family, doesn't have like a very supporting back, doesn't have like a patron supporting him. So he really wants to make a name for himself in this like some time remaining. Mortimer is from Life and Death department, and he's rockstar by role. And his Life and Death department is like really dead serious on him. He always shows himself like a real villain from D&D game, like a long cloak, skulls all over it, like a wand with like a made from like a hand of some mighty hero, and there are always like two bare bone skeletons, bodyguards accompanying him. Yeah, because back in his dump dungeon, which is his classroom, he has a bunch of zombies and skeletons going and doing stuff for him. So he always keeps them as bodyguards, and he always have like this like black heavy metal like makeup, like eyeliner, like black lipstick. So yeah, and he's also an anarchist. He listens to heavy metal. Yeah, and he hopes to make a little name for himself over here. So yeah.
Excellent. Could you tell us your fulfillment real quick?
Oh yeah, I regain burnout when I cast a spell and make my solution someone else's problem. So yeah, I think I will be deflecting some of the problems to my fellow players or to some NPCs. Yeah, it will be fun.
Excellent. Fantastic. Love Mortimer. All right, Ludo, would you like to introduce your character?
Well, I'll be playing Antonia Bandoni. She, unlike Mortimer, she's a staple in Pigsmoke. She has been working there for years. She used to be kind of this prodigy student, hardworking, even if she had not special magical aptitude. The thing is, she was big on a field of research that was not very popular. Her thesis was on gold bombardment genetics, and that was to be the big thing that everyone talked and looking forward. Unfortunately, medical experimentation on human beings became really unpopular through alchemy. Because, this panacea and all these kind of philosopher's stones, that's 15th century science. So she keeps working at that, but everyone snuffs at this field. Oh, come on, we have necromancers, we have the people from ACA. Who is going to look for an alchemist for this? This is a dead end. So she keeps working because she thinks there are immense potential on this. So she is honestly a true believer in science. So this is her life. So she has been here for years, working, making other people look good. The thing is, she gets results for other people because, she gets this fame as a technician. She's efficient. She's great at making other people look good. And she kind of exists a part of the bureaucracy, which is amazing for other people. Because, you have two options. You go to Antonia or you deal with the bureaucracy. And she developed this kind of niche. But it's starting to take a toll on her because she no longer gets to experiment like she used to. She's always doing work for someone else. And that's what she sees on the summer school as an opportunity to do novel work. And unfortunately, she thinks that everyone is here for the same motivation. So the same way that she keeps being exploited, she's going to be exploited over and over. She's a small, unassuming woman, except when she's on full research mode. Then she gets this crazy obsessive stare, and she looks always like that she's always in the middle of a lot of things, carrying things for the class from this lab, from another. The only thing that gives her a little of flair is that she has this glow, almost like she's cast out of bronze, and she always carries a scarf or underneath that help her stand out.
Oh, that's neat. Oh, that's fantastic. And what is your fulfillment?
So, because of her devotion to try to do new things, she is experimental. So, even when things go wrong, when she keeps researching and does not go anywhere, this still opens her. Whoa, there's so much that I don't know, and this actually re-energizes her, which is kind of the reason why she has not been very satisfied lately.
Excellent. Thank you. I love Antonia. All right, Asher, feel like we can introduce the character?
Yeah, I think so. So my character is Blaze Galaxy. So I was imagining like a Gilderoy Lockhart character, but like for the modern era. So he's a YouTube star, and then took this summer school position to try to, like, because he thought he could teach students how to defend themselves and things, but really just wants to like get good videos of these things. Yeah, so he has a lot of things going on because he wants to always have new videos and things, right? So, but it's bad at managing everything at once. Yeah.
Excellent. What does he look like?
I put eyes, sunglasses, hiding something terrible. So yeah, so it's probably like always wearing sunglasses and dressed to the nines. So he's like, yeah, always like, I don't know, maybe like a golden cloak or something, like flamboyant. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some like color palette for the school, so I would probably be exemplifying that, right? In all my clothes.
Excellent. And what is your fulfillment?
It is servant. Regain 1 point of burnout when you perform a service for an extraplanar entity, and it gets you into trouble.
Ooh. Oh, that'll be neat.
Yeah, that'll go well.
Okay. Awesome. All right, then. So we have our characters, and I am going to write down. I had everybody's name down except for yours, Asher. So I'm going to go ahead and put down Blaze Galaxy. Love that name. All right. So let's talk a little touch about what tone we're looking for and kind of the stuff we'd like to see. As I said before, I think there's just an innate humor to this system. You know, it plays a little of, you know, I generally say that in games, I don't like abuse of children. I think, though, that in Pigsmoke, there's kind of that funny end of abuse of children in kind of like, I don't know if y'all know W.C. Fields, but that sort of thing of, oh, get away from me, kid, sort of thing, where you know, you're not really caring that much about teaching them. You're willing to put them in dangerous positions. You know, you'll send them off telling them lies and stuff like you kind of use and abuse your students. Now, that said, keep in mind at Pigsmoke, the hospital is going to save practically everyone. They may come back with rubber bones for a little while, but more than likely, no one's ever going to fully die. So when we say abusing our students, they're going to be fine in the end. I don't, however, think we should be delving into like torturing or doing things along those lines. That's just something I don't see as having. The game also talks about that there is, you know, in academia, there has been a long history of kind of sexism and in some cases even like sexual pressure on female students. I don't, students or other teachers. I don't see any reason for that in our game. I just don't see where we need to play with that at all. So I'm just going to take that on off the table. Now, with that said, I'm interested to hear some things that folks might like to see in the game or some tone ideas they may have. Pavel, anything for tone you'd like to add or have as a wish in there?
Well, as a teacher who has his classroom in a dump dungeon and who looks like a cool D&D villain, I think I'm really leaning towards like some more like comedy, going into like some black comedy. So yeah, I'm totally fan of this. Totally will respect your boundaries. Didn't plan on going anywhere there. So yeah, I plan on experimenting with some magic. Yeah.
Cool. And yeah, I think dark humor is right up the alley of this game. Ludo, any thoughts on tone that you'd like to bring in?
Yeah, I definitely want to see dark humor. And I like to see borderline tragedy, as we see our high-minded goals to be completely subverted, and maybe a bit of cynicism in reaction to the most idealistic characters and NPCs.
Excellent. Cool. I think that definitely will fit in with us. And Asher, any thoughts on tone?
Since we're going kind of to the edge there, I kind of want to see what's normal too. I like have one classroom that has good pedagogy, and actually teaches students well, and that'll contrast well with all the other craziness going on, I think.
Okay, cool. So we do want to see that there are actually some good teachers who are trying out there too. Yeah. All right. That's excellent. All right. So sounds like we've got a pretty good idea from all of us what we're looking for tone. As far as content goes, I'm a big fan of body horror. So unless people have a big problem, we may see some things like, the horrible creature that's summoned up from the depths of hell that goes around with blood dripping off of it and stuff like that. That said, again, I'm probably not ripping off arms of people or anything, but, it can always be fixed at the hospital. So we may see a little of that somewhere along the way. If there's no problems, I will probably have a little bit of that gore and body horror because I just think it's fun and neat and plays to that kind of dark humor we may be going for. Other than that, for content, I don't have anything I think that's going to be problematic. I would like to ask, is there any complete lines that people have in content they just don't want to see? Or have we covered most things that might be of difficulty? Anyone? All right, then. So it sounds like we're on the same page. Asher, anything? Nope.
I know.
Okay. All right, then. Well, with all of that in mind, we're going to go to kind of our next step in setting up. And I even have a little sheet of paper that helps me with that. We're going to ask our questions. And I think for our purposes, because we're playing for a fairly long time, I think probably let's pick one for everyone, for each person you're playing with, and then 2 more that you can do with players in there, or we can develop an NPC. So let's do 4 total, but let's, you can at least 1 with each of your fellow players, and then the rest we could come up with, we can invent NPCs for, and that sort of thing. So I think I'm going to start again with your end, Pavel, if you would like to go through your questions.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what are we supposed to do with these questions, because they seem to be directed at my character. So I'm not really sure. Do you want me to like pick the question and then answer it, or ask those that are not specifically about my character to someone else? I'm not really sure how these questions are supposed to work.
They do have some that are really more self-reflecting. If you want to do those, then you'll be answering those for yourself. There are some that are down there because what they do is they divided them up into 3 that are kind of self-reflective and 3 that are more outward-facing. So I wouldn't mind seeing at least those 2 for your other players out of your bottom 3 questions that are outward-facing, And if you'd rather with the other two have them in those interior reflective, or if you want to do the third one on the outward facing, that's all up to you.
Okay. They are over here. Yeah, that's out. It's still a little bit confusing.
You might just read.
Yeah, go ahead.
You might just read them, and then we can decide if we want to take one with you, right?
Well, you can see them all in the character keeper.
Yeah. And
so I will start a question about myself, and maybe we'll create an NPC or two out of it, and then we will see how we'll tie this into the other characters. Okay. So one of the very interesting questions is, what wildly did the irresponsible thing you were doing with the undergrads last weekend? So I totally think that there was a LARP in the dungeon. There was totally a planned LARP for the beginning of the summer term to get the people, like, to get them into playing our D&D weekly group and so on. And there was this one group who, of course, did what every adventurers do, and they went off the rails, and they went into investigating something where I had this like vile zombies, and they of course went to hack and slash at them rather than escape. And there were some casualties, and now they are, like, lying heavily beaten and being resurrected at the medical wing. So
I like that I was involved in that. If you want that to be a connection.
So you were leading this group? You could, like, convince them to go, like,
I mean, yeah, I want to teach them how to fight zombies, right? So they need to know this stuff.
Okay. All right. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds very interesting.
Excellent. Oh, I love it. Oh, that's fantastic.
So I ask you to please lead this group, and then you said, "Oh, fine. I don't mind the scenario. I will just go this way." Okay, yeah, that's perfect.
Oh, that's wonderful. And so to ask you, Asher, after you went through this, and some of these students were injured and had to go to the hospital, and maybe even one had to be brought back from near death. What was your opinion then of Mortimer and his little LARPing adventure?
Obviously, this is why they need me at the school, right? Because the students couldn't deal with it. They just wanted pretend adventures. They can't deal with the real thing.
Excellent. All right. Cool. All right, Pavel, a second question.
Can we do a round robin? So I will see how
Sure.
they approach this question, because I'm still thinking about them.
Certainly. Then Ludo, something for Antonia.
Okay, I think one that is pretty obvious is who infuriates you with their ability to skate by on the minimum of effort. And I think, Asher, it's pretty obvious that Blaze Galaxy really annoys Antonia when she gets out of few hours on the lab and she gets the notification, "Oh, Blaze Galaxy uploaded a new video." So, what do you think about that?
Sure. Yeah. I think I don't work very much, but you might.
I like that. Okay, so sort of that using this media to promote himself is just not doing the real study. Though, of course, I think we know that Blaze thinks he's quite the worker in all this.
Takes a lot of effort to make this video.
Excellent. Super cool. Love it. All right, Asher, a question from you.
Which of your friends is tired of you letting them down, maybe?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Or who is a bastion of purity who still manages to keep up with you? So I think that would be Antonia, right? Maybe I see her as this bastion of purity. And she's a really hard worker, so that makes sense.
What do we think, Antonia? Like that idea?
I like that angle because kind of the stereotype of the workers and how we are characterizing Antonia so far, is that she sacrifices a lot of relationships outside of Pigsmoke in favor of work friends. So when the work friends let her down, she kind of takes it very hard.
That's fantastic. So that sounds good. All right. Thank you, Asher. And Pavel, think you've got a second one?
Yeah. So I think Antonia, how about you recognize one of the bodies in my lab, and what is your connection to that body? It can be a zombie or already a skeleton, so it's like your choice.
Oh, that's neat. What you think, Antonia?
It might be too much, but what if it's the teacher that is supposed to be on pregnancy leave?
Oh,
Maybe too much. Maybe too much.
What do you think? How's that sound to you, Mortimer?
Yeah. I wonder if it's like implies that they do it on intentionally. Yeah, I think it's like a black humor. Yeah, like totally. I was like helping her out with something, and then an accident happened, and I couldn't like leave the body just lying there. So I thought nobody would notice. So I think we should give this person a name. So I will look also at the cool name list for like Life and Death department.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll give you a second to look. Yeah, what you got?
Yeah, let's call this zombie a Zoe.
Zombie Zoe. I love it.
Yeah, and I will put her in the NPC so that we can utilize the stuff if we need.
Thank you. All right. And that was Antonia's person who they're working for. Excellent. Oh, that's so cool. All right, Ludo, do you have a second question?
I will say that we'll continue that trend, and maybe that's how I learned about this, is that Mortimer got me tangled up on their latest project. And I kind of got into it because I wanted to be friendly to the newest hire, see if he's doing anything cool, anything novel, and maybe I got too involved. Pavel, do you have an idea of what that project might have been?
Yeah, Pavel, what you think?
Well, obviously it has to be something with the. It's also a life department. So maybe we are trying to grow a plant that will, I don't know, produce some gold or silver. So like, I think it's important to remember that this is also life department, not only death. So
Right.
it's just like trying to grow something that will produce something useful, like a plant that will be producing like some small amount of very good quality gold.
Ooh, I like that. What do you think, Antonia? Is that a good idea?
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to try to create a plant that instead of storing energy as something as prosaic as sugar, stores energy in form of rare minerals.
Oh, I love it. Okay, cool. That's a neat one. Okay, and so y'all have been working on that, and somewhere during the course of it, you ran across poor zombie Zoe off in a corner. Oh, that's fantastic.
So does it make sense for us to start it as an empty project that we are both working on?
Yeah, I think that seems like a great idea. There's a research project that you could go ahead and have as you've started the research project, and you can start adding X's into it.
Mm.
Excellent. All right, and Asher, second question from you and from Blaze.
I like what piece of work haven't you started yet, despite the deadline being tomorrow? And I think it's something to clean the school before the fall semester. So I think I'm helping to bind like the spirits in the castle before the fall semester starts.
I got you.
But
So you're here during summer trying to make sure all these spirits and things are bound in before fall starts, but you haven't even begun it, huh?
yeah, I'm too busy LARPing.
Excellent. All right. So cool. So that means we've got kind of a neat thread that I know of something that you're supposed to be doing, and the administration's been going, "Hey, Blaze, what's up with this?" Cool. So coming back over to you, Pavel, for your last or for your next one, third one.
Yeah, so Blaze. Name and describe the undead creature on the campus you have stuck a casual friendship with. You know, I think that showing something dead, like a skeleton on YouTube movies, makes you like oh my god, how is he doing this? That's great effects. Like, so I don't know. What do you think about it? It's gonna be like one of my zombies or skeletons, or someone just in general like a undead creature.
I think it's a special creature, right? It's not just like a human or something. It's like an undead dragon or something, you know?
That's neat. What you think, Pavel? Some supernatural creature, maybe?
Yeah, why not?
Normal skeletons you see every day.
maybe this undead dragon is like a pet of it's like a dean's pet, or at least my department head like favorite pet or something.
That's a cool idea. Why don't we go with your department head? Let's keep the dean off for a little bit on that. Let's do your department head.
Cool. And any cool idea for the undead dragon name?
Asher, any suggestions?
I think it has to be related to Blaze. Yeah, maybe like Flame or Seer or something.
Sparky?
Sparky. Sure, because it's probably little. Otherwise, it wouldn't fit in the hallways. So.
What do you think of those suggestions, Pavel?
Yeah, Sparky sounds good. Are we talking like but then are we talking about some kind of like a smaller size dragon, like a size of I don't know, a human, or like smaller or bigger?
Well, it's a skeleton, right? So maybe it can smush more, right? Like maybe
it doesn't have as much flesh, so it's not as big.
So maybe the bones can still go through hallways and stuff. They're just like a giant mass of bones instead of being spread out like normal.
So maybe the size of like a pony or something.
Okay.
All right. Ludo, something then for Antonia.
So I was thinking, now to start to introduce some a few more NPCs, that who is enraged by the amount of stuff that you are expensing to the department?
Ooh, nice.
I'm thinking that the alchemy department might include a sphinx that is responsible for the procurement of rare materials, and has been here by centuries, and they are really outrageous by this increasing odd demands and are always complaining.
Excellent. Okay. Well, what do you think the name? And is this your department head, or you think this is just the purser, the person in charge of y'all's resources?
I will say it's not part of the teaching staff, that it's probably administration or the assistants or the bursar.
Okay, let's go with the purser then. For your department. And what do you think that Sphinx's name is?
I will say that their name is unpronounceable, but everyone just calls her Claire.
Claire. All right. Oh, that's excellent. And she is probably, what do you mean you need another cockatrice tongue? You've gotten 3 already this week. Sort of things. Excellent. Cool, cool, cool. All right, then. Asher, another question for Blaze.
I think I want to start defining my extra planar patron. That seems like a good idea. I was thinking there was this I was thinking it was this entity called like Mother Monster. Right? Like, this is where all sorts of different monsters come from.
Excellent. And so what is the relationship between you? Why are you beholden to her?
Maybe it's like a give and take thing. Like I bind up so many of these things that I've just like have this fate connected with her.
And what does she want?
That's a good question. I thought there was like a card thing for this that I was going to base it off of, but I can't find that.
Does she want you to have more monsters in the world, you think? Or does she have a certain monster she's wanting you to bind and bring into the world, or something she really hates and wants taken out of the world? Or something else entirely.
So I found the thing I was looking for. It says a vengeful force purging the poison from its home. So maybe there's some sort of thing in the school that she wants me to change.
Oh, I like that.
Maybe like a chamber of secrets, right? Like there's some sort of monster hiding in here that I haven't been able to get at yet.
Excellent. Okay. And is she wanting you to like free it from in here, or to stop it and get rid of it?
Yeah, I think she wants it, right? So
okay,
taking
cool.
it out of school.
So a hidden monster that Mother Monster wants you to take out and maybe send to her or something. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. All right. And now, Pavel, your last one, your fourth one.
Okay, just guys, please put those NPCs in the NPC in Places tab. Otherwise, we might forget about who they are.
Yeah, and you come up with folks, if y'all would stick them in there. I'm taking notes, so I'll try and put them in there after the session if we don't get them all in when I review.
Cool. I'm super lazy with my kick notes, so I think the last one will be directed at myself because it is very funny. So, which of your students is flanking your class hard? Why is it important that they pass? So I think that we have a son of someone notable. Maybe like, I'm not sure where our school is. Is it in the US or someone else?
I've been envisioning it in the U.S., but if people want to pitch it for somewhere else, I'm perfectly fine with that. But I'd kind of imagined it in the northeast of the U.S.
Yeah, so I totally think that this British spoiled kid, like, he's 19 and he's already a sir because his father pushed for it. So like a Sir Jonathan Ford, he's like totally lazy and think that he should be given everything for free. And he's totally failing at my class. And well, it is important. Why is it important they pass? Well, if his father will file a complaint that I am bad teacher because his son has a bad grades, no matter how much research I do, it will be just like, yeah, thank you, go bye.
I like it. Do we think his father is also a wizard, or do we think his father maybe donates a bunch to the school? Or it's just politically connected, or what do we think?
I like the ideas of like the Harry Potter, like the wizard is like a part of the lineage. So I think his father is also a wizard. Maybe not like actively practicing, but yeah, he definitely was at our school. He's giving handsome donations. So
Excellent. Okay, cool. So this kid's father, very important, and even though he's just cruddy at being a student, there's some real pressure to help him out, make sure he gets by.
yeah,
Like it. Did you come up with a name for him?
Sir Jonathan Ford.
Excellent. And in the NPCs, cool. All right. Ludo, a last question for Antonia.
So again, on the trying to get a few more students, I'm going for the student options. Which of your students is blatantly cheating, and why are you letting it slide? So I have a student that she made the mistake of booking too much classes and getting involved in too many projects, and she's trying to get away to not back away. And I'm aware that she's stealing small stuff, doing some side illegal things, brewing strange potions in the bathroom, all to try to get an edge. And considering the level of skill needed, Anthony's kind of too impressed to help her out, because so far she has managed to not get caught or to do anything stupid, so she's kind of impressed.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So you're actually going with this thought that, wow, well, sure, it's cheating, but boy, it's hard to cheat like that.
She's doing a lot of work to shit.
Love it. Oh, that's fantastic. Cool. All right, and Asher, last one for Blaze.
I'm not sure. They all seem kind of similar. Maybe we can define that bastion of purity again, since it seemed like Antonia wanted to be the one who's tired of me letting her down.
Okay.
I wonder who is pure at the school. Maybe it would be like the dean of my department. Like maybe that's why I'm here.
Okay.
Because I'm very fond of the dean. Yeah.
All right. You're head of your department. So there is this head of your department who you really think is, excellent, first rate, a really capable person, and have a thought for maybe a name.
Let's call her Liz.
All right. Liz, the head of binding. And says keeps up with you. How do you interpret that? Do you mean that that she's going around and like making sure that you're settling in, or is she someone who like is also out there, publishing and putting things up on the net? Or how do you think she's keeping up with you?
I think she's somewhat political. Maybe she's been at like a lot of conferences and things. So I admire that, even though it's not quite the same domain. I admire that she's not just an academic, right? She's in public as well.
Cool. So like does the magical TED Talks and things like that.
Right.
Neat. Okay. Well, it sounds like we've got some questions done through. Again, and Ludo, what was the name of your student? I don't think I wrote that down.
Margaret.
Margaret. Excellent. Now, as Paul's been saying, let's go ahead and try and make sure we get some of those into the NPCs. Make sure that they're up there so we can reference them. Again, when I do a review of the thing, I'll go back and check while I'm watching that everything's in the NPCs, and I'll add a little bit in there, and should have that by in there next week, so we'll have it to reference. I won't take time to do it myself right now, but y'all could put those in, and that'd be helpful. So we have defined our questions, and I think we're getting a pretty cool idea of these characters. Let's go on to our dean. And we have this in the book, and I'm going to pull up in the book. Well, actually, first, let's do our departments. Following the character creation questions, each player will each have the opportunity to say one true thing about their department. And we can look on page 81 in the book. And there we are, 81. Is it 81?
86 of the PDF.
86 in the PDF. I was about to say, that doesn't look right. There we are. 86 in the PDF. And it turns out that the first department is of life and death. So we'll start with you then, I think, Pavel. The head of your department. And I don't think we've defined your head of department yet with anything. So what do you think the head of your department is, and what are they like?
Yeah, I'm just reading the options.
Okay, doke.
Haven't been here before.
And while he's looking at that, you guys can also scroll on down to your own departments and get a little leg up. I know I kind of sprung it on you, Pavel, before you ended up being first, so you didn't have a chance to look.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's go with interesting thing. Let's start with Arun. The head of the department is Arun Inscribed Skeleton, whose command of necromancy is unsurpassed and whose agenda is dubious.
Ooh,
are there some name suggestions? No, I don't see any name suggestions. Let's look at something from Life and Death. Something easy to pronounce.
I posted a thing in chat. Someone made a name generator based on people who play in the Gauntlet games. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's use this one, Ichiro. It sounds interesting.
Okay. Is he? Was the? It's a skeleton now, but were they Asian? Were they with a name like Ichiro?
Yeah, I think they were.
Okay. And they have, as it says in there, some agenda that is dubious. Do you, Mortimer, have any idea what that dubiousness is, or is that something we want to discover and play?
I think not yet, but
Okay.
definitely it was Ichiro. I would use a pronouns of them for them because they are probably undefined now and were for some time. So it was so they kind of like hinted at me that maybe I should do this LARP exercise. Like they were like checking maybe there will be yeah, it's hard to say, but like they definitely like encouraged Mortimer to make this like entire LARP stuff, and then there was accidents, so he isn't aware of what exactly the dubious agenda is, but something, I don't know, maybe they wanted to have someone in the infirmary so they can interrogate them over there.
I love it. Oh, that's cool. Excellent.
Maybe they even asked Blaze to ask the Blaze or had some strings on him to lead this particular group this direction. So something about this, but I'm not yet fully sure I'm aware of this.
Cool. All right, neat.
So do I go through other two questions as well about my department?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do them all.
Okay.
So a key problem facing the department. And of course, you can make up your own if one of these three doesn't exactly hit it for you, but they are kind of cool.
I think it will be interesting that there is a lack of raw material, like corpses. maybe we had some deal with like local coroner office, so that we will be actually taking the bodies instead of them going into the funerals. But maybe this like deal is like off for some reason recently, and we have a problem. So everyone is like looking with their eyes open that Mortimer has quite a lot of zombies and skeletons. Maybe we should take some of his. He's like the youngest student. So.
Oh, I like it. Oh, that's cool. And we can also have the maybe we need to go find a new source for these bodies. That's a neat hook. I love it.
Of course.
And the department building is.
It's haunted, and it's really haunted. It's notoriously haunted. Haunted even that paranormal investigators keep breaking in, ruining experiments, risking Pigsmoke low profile, and otherwise making a nuisance of themselves.
Oh, I love it. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, wonderful. Okay, so we have defined out the department and its department head. That's super cool. All right, so going down, our next one that is one of our people is alchemy, which is on page 90. So Ludo, Antonia, tell us about your head of department.
So the head of department of alchemy is far too prone to experiment on themselves. You don't think they are experimenting on anyone else.
What does that mean they look like?
I will say that at this point, they kind of reduce themselves to some kind of base components. So the real form is like a vat of grey goo, and every single week they are on a different body. Most of the time constructs, but often different homunculi designed based on the fashion.
Oh, that's fantastic. And now it's possible at this point no one knows if the head is male or female or what they really look like, but what do we think their name is?
They call themselves Kim.
Kim.
Which is a gendered enough.
Yeah.
Always fit.
That's perfect. Excellent. All right. Key problem facing the department is?
So fitting the theme of Antonia's questions, crime. The Department of Alchemy is both wealthy and well-equipped, with potentially intoxicating chemicals, making a prime target for criminally minded students and mundanes. Naturally, you're going to have to put a stop to this.
Oh, I love it. Do we think that... do we think this is like drugs, or do we think it's like love potions and super serums to make people stronger or different? Is it a mixture of all of these?
Probably there are students doing all of this. Technically, the reagents can be used for anything, but for sure that the students are doing for this. And if any mundans are doing this, they just want to sell this on the general market. I mean, gold is always precious.
Excellent. Okay. So we've got students who are kind of going through and secretly selling out stuff to line their pockets. I love it. And one will guess that is, of course, terribly against the rules. So that's why we're keeping an eye out and we're having to stop that. All right. And the department building is
full of modern scientific laboratories and the necessary accoutrements.
Cool.
I mean, Pigsmoke make a big deal of that the alchemy department was looking forward. It was on the front end on both magical and mundane science. So you always have a lot of big, nice equipment. Most of the time tends to be reclaimed by the head of the department for whatever new body they are building.
Oh, I love it. And again, we're talking about alchemy is a pretty wealthy department, so they can have cutting edge stuff that, those poor folks off at like Mindbend. Well, I guess Mindbending could figure out ways to make their money too. But but yeah, top end, beautiful labs. I love it. Cool. All right then. So next will be going over to
BSA.
Yeah,
So the head of the department we already kind of defined, but I think I'll choose the first one, that she's using a body as a timeshare with a powerful extraplanar entity. You're never quite sure who's driving the meat around here or what the mind is up to when they're in control.
All right. That's really cool. Wow.
Yeah. I posted a picture in the NPC thing, so she's just like constantly surrounded by different ghosts, and you're not sure if they're possessing her or not.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, cool.
That's how I saw it.
And so it sounds like kind of, where we're talking about never quite sure who's driving the meat around. Do you think there's like rumors that it's different entities that actually are doing this? The head is never really exactly the same person, or what do you think there?
I think it's it's a timeshare, right? So they are there at specific times, but I think they're always kind of around, and it's just whoever is in the body at the time.
Who's driving? Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I like that. That's a lot for me to get to play with. I like that. What is the key problem facing the department?
That's a good question. I wasn't quite sure. But I like the favors or what did I want to do? I wanted to tie it back into this entity in the middle of deep in the school. Like maybe that's the reason why this department exists, and then my character is like up against another entity that's trying to get rid of it.
Okay. I like that too. So why don't we go with an idea then that the favor owed is whoever, our secret monster in the middle is supposed to be watched over and taken care of and never allowed out by the department. And now you're working for Mother Monster, who really is kind of wanting it out. That sound good?
Like it owes her favors.
Oh, I love it. Okay. And do you want to kind of think of what the dreadful entity is that the favor is owed to? Or do we want to discover that in play?
I think we can discover it.
Okay. So we'll find out what awful and horrible thing the department owes this favor to.
Yeah, I think it'll depend on how the department is, right?
Mm-hmm. Cool. So I'm gonna write down awful being owed favor. All right. And then the department building is.
I imagined it like a big tower. And then there are like floating like offshoot things that you have to climb up to get there, and each one has a different demon.
That's cool.
Yeah, so like the last one was constructed and maintained by a half dozen bound entities. So the bound entities are in the stairs that you have to climb to get up there.
But they also hate you.
Yeah, so you have to deal with them every time you go to class.
I like that. Oh, that is so cool. So we have hateful beings that maintain the place, and are constantly testing the people in it. Oh, I love it. Cool. So now we're going to define the dean, and this is the dean, and that will be back up at I think 81 on the sheet is where that is, or right there about. Pull it to it. Actually, it's 84. Now, our dean is the top of the school, is kind of dictatorial. There is very little oversight beyond the dean. We have a board of directors, but the dean is someone who kind of gets to overrule everything, holds your job in his hands, is the final arbitrator of all things, and is almost certainly a pretty powerful wizard in his own right, or her own right. So we're going to go and we'll go around the table choosing traits for the dean. As with the traits you can choose for your character, you can supersede these with your own ideas, so you can come up with things if you want. But to give the dean an off-list trait requires unanimous approval from the group. So, as you see, we got a little list down there, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is perfect. So I think I'm going to start off with, why don't we start off on the other end? We'll start with you, Asher. What do you think the dean's name is?
I like the Smith one. Like, their whole job is to keep us low profile, right? So they would want a name that's the hardest to Google, right?
So, Dean Smith. Just Smith. All right. And anybody who tries to go and delve in deeper, all they find is Smith. Just
Other
Smith.
schools. Sure,
Right.
other schools have Dean's name Smith, too.
Wonderful. All right. Ludo, the dean's nature is.
I
So
will
what's he
say
like?
the dean is a decent person trying to do a hard job. The problem is the job is too hard. There's way too much pressure. The heads of the department having insane demands, and to be honest, the dean is pretty disconnected from reality, being on that position, and people always try to hide things from him. So
Love it. Okay. So we've got a good guy, a decent person. Let me pop back real quick to you, Asher, since we got a name and it's Smith, just Smith. Does the dean present as male or female, or is the dean some odd creature?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm a little biased because I'm all about weird creatures. Maybe we can combine them and have them be like some alchemical that came alive. So
That's a pretty cool idea. Does everybody like the concept that maybe this is, say, like a golem, maybe, or some golden statue or something?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. All right, then. So they would probably be a they. And so we'll go with, let's see, I like the idea of a golden statue. It's sort of sexless, almost looks like the Oscar statue, maybe,
that makes
just
sense.
golden. All right. And
Yeah,
huh.
They always make the joke that they made the pose for the Oscars.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. I love it. Okay, cool. So, and we got the nature, decent person trying to do a hard job with being disconnected because their staff wants to lie to them and trick them a lot. All right. So, Pavel, the dean cares about.
So since they are already disconnected by a decent person, they of course care about the well-being of student body, because the more students, the more funding, and then we have to educate those poor students into being proper wizards so that they don't sign up improper deals with the demons or whatever other forces.
Awesome.
And yeah, and they think we should care about students, but students are also awful, but they don't know.
Excellent. And that is another indication that not connected with the staff very much, because the staff, students. But here we have our Dean Smith going, oh, we must teach them. They're fine, young, moldable minds. All right. Love it. Okay. Let's go back to you, Asher. The Dean wants.
I like to make the students or some subset of them worthy.
Ooh, that's nice, because then it implies what is worthy to the dean.
Right, like the school is around here for some reason, right? It's not just to mess around.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll be pushing us to at least like educate the kids in some way.
Do we think that there's some like unknown plan, some worthiness that our dean has that, looking for the special one or the boy who wouldn't die or whatever? Do you think there's something like that? Or do you think it's more of a, we're only going to put out good, proper wizards here at Pigsmoke? Or is it something we don't know yet?
I like the idea of like a competition, and it's called the Oscars, right? Or maybe at least colloquially, there's no like official name for it.
Excellent. So trying to find the very best. We have a competitive look so that we're looking for the very best students each year, sort of thing, each term. I like that. And that gives us a chance, maybe at the end of our term, we'll have a big competition for our students, which is always fun. Cool. Okay.
The dean's list.
And let's go over. So, Ludo, the dean's vision for Pigsmoke is
something wildly unrealistic, even at America's foremost school of sorcery, which goes very well with the previous theme. He keeps having too many unrealistic demands of the students. He also has very unrealistic demands of the university, and he's always selling it to founders and to the government and to other people as way more than it actually is.
I love it. Okay, so we got this sort of always giving, this probably not quite true vision of, of course, all of our students are brilliant. All of our teachers are devoted. I gotcha. Oh, that's cool. All right. And finally, final question there for you, Pavel. The dean cannot resist what?
A difficult thing to summarize. I want to say gambling, but put a twist on it. Maybe he's like this mad collector of like everything collectible connected with cards. So Magic the Gathering, card game, you name it, he wants to have it. Normal cards, playing poker, sometimes as well. So it's like so if you want to get on his really good side, you go to Amazon and you buy this like super rare Magic the Gathering card, limited edition from 1991.
I love it. Oh, that's so cool. So you're, want to get on his good side, get that black bordered onyx or whatever. I love it. Oh, that's fantastic. And probably that reflects in, he'll probably goes occasionally to his tournaments, or he'll be very interested in, oh my goodness, we're going to have the Pokemon tournament today. Oh, that's going to be great, sort of thing. Okay, cool. Yeah. Excellent. All right, then. Well, we have defined down our dean. We've defined down our departments. We have our characters all set up. And I'm going to look just real quick. I, somewhere in the last couple of days, have misplaced my hard copy, so I'm having to scroll back and forth. I'm sorry about that. Okay.
Yeah, the PDF could really use some bookmarks. I started to making some in the download because
It is a lot of up and down. All right. So it looks like we have got ourselves pretty well set up. I think since we're halfway through, we're going to take a break. We'll do 5 minutes and come back and kind of get started. So see y'all in just a few.
You are.
Oh, I'm so glad to get to play with you, Ludo. Glad
me
to have
too.
you here.
Yeah, I have been following the Gauntlet for a while, but it's always hard to get into games, especially on the European side of things.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know if you've had a chance to meet or speak with Garrett Reidenhaus.
Yeah.
He runs some games in German time zone. He's German. He tries to get some games in that time period, and he's been running a series that are German language games as well.
Oh.
He is currently he lives normally in Guatemala, but currently he's back visiting family in Germany. But I anticipate here in a month or two, it wouldn't surprise me if he puts up some more German language games. We actually have a pretty good amount of German folks that are in Gauntlet.
Yeah, I was surprised to find out that.
It's he's done a really good job of recruiting, and there's some really excellent players out of Germany. Tina Trillison is a wonderful player, and she actually does translations of games from English to German. It's her job, and there's some others. I love playing with the German players. They're fantastic. But yeah, we're starting to spread out to have some games in those European time zones, and they work well for me too. Because the beginning of the week I'm off, so I like playing it. 1 or 2 in the afternoon for me, which is a nice evening game for Europe for the most part. What have you been playing lately, Pavel?
I'm sorry, I'm chewing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
On the Gauntlet or off the Gauntlet?
Either or.
A lot. Just yesterday, I GM'd Cold City, but it didn't went well. Players said that nope, not their style. But I often play out of PBTA. I have GM'd Cartel. I'm soon starting the Veil.
I love the Veil. What you think of Cartel?
It's really cool. It's really dark, and it's like this really hard subject. No supernatural, but like really, I don't know, getting someone breaking off his fingers to get some testimony. It's hard topic, so I would say like for short couple sessions, go for it. But I'm really looking forward for full version to have some more ideas of how the MC should work, and I know, do they want to use fronts or other stuff? Because I felt like a little lacking on the GM side. Just moves, agenda, and principles. I like to also see some other tools. I could, so that I don't have to improvise.
That's Mark Diaz Truman's game, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen it, and I haven't had a chance to buy it yet or get a hold of it. But those when they get into that dark a subject, I'm a little skittish around them. I don't always want to play them when they're super dark, but I've heard good things about Cartel.
Yeah, it's dark in a way. Maybe not dark, but like heavy, because this like drug war is like a heavy subject, even between the cartels. So,
yeah, I'm not much on. I don't watch many like TV shows or stuff where there are no good people, and Cartel feels like everybody's kind of a bad person.
Yes. So there are no heroes there. I watched some Narcos to prepare to run it, and then also Sicario. Although Sicario shows it completely from the US side, but Narcos, shows from both sides, really cool. So one could try to play it like a Pablo Escobar and his famous sentence: "Do you take silver or lead so like do you take money or do you want the bullets?" So they also try to like, because part of the theme also of Sicario is that they want to bring one cartel to be in power, because one cartel brings peace as well. If you have many cartels, you have like out of fighting, out of dead bodies.
That's cool. And Veil, saying you're playing Veil, that's an excellent game. I love Veil.
Yeah, I'm getting hard time understanding it, so we will see how it goes. I think I lack media touchstones to really get into playbooks and stuff. So I will see how this will go.
Yeah, Fraser has a
Luckily, I'll
real
play.
sit view on that on the Veil.
Yeah, luckily I'm playing, not GMing, so I'm allowed to be a little bit lucky in the understanding.
Yeah,
How about you, Ashley?
I actually GM'd the Veil last weekend for the first time, so that was exciting.
How'd it go?
It went really well. I was going for more of like a Matrix feel, just to see if the Veil could do that, and it worked out really well. We got interesting characters, and the only thing is, I mostly played Hack the Planet with Fraser, so I think it took a lot more of that feel, where they were like going on a mission to grab this object or whatever.
I gotcha.
But that worked a lot well for a one-shot.
Cool. Did you run it for Gauntlet?
No, actually, in a local store.
Oh, okay. You got a Gauntlet game coming up soon, though, that you're running, aren't you?
I did one like 2 weeks ago. That was my first.
How did it go?
It went pretty well, yeah. And then I'm doing the Maximum Fun Club, so I'll do another game like in September.
Did you post the videos?
No, it wasn't recorded.
Like I say, I've gotten to where I record because I'm too lazy to take all the notes I want. And then I'll sit there and I'll watch them 2 or 3 times and agonize over how I did horribly running it. All right, then. Well, let's get started. So I think we're going to start off with, the term is fixing to begin, and we've got all of the professors in for a meeting, where we're going to have the dean, Dean Smith, is going to come out, and all of you know what these meetings are. They're the same thing every term. He's going to or they're going to talk about, how to make sure that we're teaching just right for these students. Each of you has a responsibility to mold these young minds, to create the perfect wizard. We have a responsibility here at Pigsmoke to produce the very best. That's why we have the very best teachers. That's why we have the very best facilities. And that's why we only have the very best students. You guys have heard it 1,000 times before. It's so dull. And so Dean Smith drones on and on as you're sitting there watching and listening, and eventually the dean does say something that perks you up a little. This term, we have a visiting professor, someone who I think is going to be an excellent addition to our staff. May I present Professor Titania? And motions over, and standing up is this beautiful woman, long blonde hair. You can see the little pointed tips of her ears. She has almond eyes that glow almost a green, and her skin is flawless and sort of golden hued. And she's wearing a long flowing green dress. And Dean Smith says, Professor Titania will be taking over the mind-bending department for our summer term. I have absolute faith that she is going to bring a whole new vision to the department and is going to produce some of the finest students we have ever seen here at Pigsmoke. Professor, would you care to introduce and say hello? And she looks around, and all of you, as you look at her beauty, just sort of, it almost overwhelms you. She is so lovely as she goes, hello, my name is Professor Titania. I am visiting from the Arcadia School, and I am very excited to meet each and every one of you. Hopefully we will get to be great friends. My office door is always open. Please, let us have a chance to get to know each other. And as she smiles around, it's as though she's looking right at you. Her smile just seems to brighten the dull staff meeting here at Pigsmoke. And as the meeting breaks up and the dean says, well, students will begin classes tomorrow. And of course, please remember, I am here to help you. Any one of you who might need some sort of assistance, the dean's office is always open. Office hours are from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Thank you very much, and please have a wonderful year. And as the meeting begins to break up, Titania will come walking over to you, Antonia. Professor, hang on one moment. Let me pull up here. There we go. Professor Bandoni, I've heard of your amazing reputation. Your research is quite amazing in your field.
Oh, Professor Titania, I was not aware that someone of the mind-bending studies would be interested on my little outdated alchemical techniques. I'm afraid I don't have much to offer to compare to the innovations that your field has done.
I think that you're being far, far too humble. I believe that alchemy is truly the wave of the future. So much can be done through alchemy. All departments could benefit from your studies. In fact, I was wondering if perhaps you would be interested in a little project that I've been working on.
I'm always open to collaborations.
Wonderful. I have been attempting to work on teaching through implanting. Why spend hours and hours teaching a student when you can simply put the knowledge right into their brains? I've run into one small problem, though, Professor. So often their brains are full of useless things. I was wondering if maybe alchemy department and my own department could work together to, well, clean up some of the debris that is cluttering their tiny little minds.
Antonia tries to see, this is a bit too dangerous, and this is exactly the kind of thing that the dean might be upset. So she starts from, okay, I don't want to piss off someone that clearly has high connections, so I'll try to let her down without committing but showing willingness. Okay. Oh, in fact, that's true. I remember reading a lot on crystal-based storage of information and how to interface with biological systems. That could, let students compartmentalize things. So, keep the fun time memories on one side, the work time memories, and switch maybe in between. Maybe we can talk about that, grow toward research, and try to create a project.
Oh, that's absolutely wonderful. Yes, compartmentalizing. I like that concept. Taking some of the chaff and leaving only the true grains. Oh, I knew that you were going to be a great friend of mine. And she sort of pats you on the shoulder. Perhaps later on in the week I can drop by your classroom and we can discuss preliminaries of the research.
Yeah, indeed. I'm always willing to learn more. And in fact, I hope that in advance you send me some of your publications forward, some ideas of the means that you have at your disposal so that we can plan something more concrete.
I would love that. Oh, you have just made me the happiest lady in the world. And she will head off again, looking as graceful as possible as she moves away and begins circulating among the other professors. Let's go to you, Mortimer. I think the dean is going to make a point to come over and speak to you for a moment. Professor Blackrose, could I take a moment of your time?
Of course, Dean Smith. I'm honored that you would find time to speak with me.
Young Sir Jonathan, his father has expressed to me that his grades were not very good last term and is a little worried that perhaps, well, that he's not getting the proper attention that he deserves. I was wondering if perhaps you would be willing to do a little extra tutoring for him. He's going to be here for summer term to get those grades back up. Do you mind spending a little extra time with him?
Yeah, I think we see like a bony hand from the cloak coming for cloth and just like wiping his forehead and then just hiding back in the cloak. And she's, oh, so I wasn't aware that that Mr. Ford is staying for the summer term. I was hoping that he won't. Yes, of course, Dean Smith. I will see if between our very important research I can find some extra time for extra tutoring him.
I knew I could depend on you, Black Rose.
But maybe it will be possible. It will be far easier for me if we could maybe get a little bit extra, get a little bit extra expense allowance so that I can have like a little bit more time for him.
Well, I suppose that if you're taking on this extra task, why don't you drop by the purser's office? I'm sure that the purser would be more than happy to extend a little more funding for you. Fine chap. He always seems to find a little extra something in the budget. You know that's not true. He's a skinflint of horrible proportions, the purser. But Dean Smythe's, nodding his almost expressionless gold face. In fact, whenever you speak to the dean, there's the odd problem of your face reflects off of the kind of expressionless gold of their head. So it's like you're looking at yourself whenever you talk to the dean.
Yeah, I'm trying not to correct myself. I'm looking to him like into a mirror. I'm trying to stop myself.
And as he moves off, he says, or they say, by the way, Black Rose, I would really appreciate it if young Jonathan is ready by the time that the competition comes around at the end of the term. A blue ribbon for Sir Jonathan would be, well, a blue ribbon for the whole school. We just got to find his hidden talents, Black Rose. Just find his hidden talents.
Yeah, as he turns, I think Mortimer does quietly says he has no talent, but
wonderful. And over to you, Blaze. Let me pop up and look here. I have an idea. There we go. And so, Blaze, you're kind of a well-known person here at the school. And so all of the other teachers are kind of coming over to make sure and shake your hand, say, oh, I hope it's a shame you're having to be here for the summer term. I know you'd have other things you'd love to do. And trying to, just press the flesh a little, be friendly. How are you reacting to that?
I'm happy to make new friends. I think, I'll just be very, very outgoing and boisterous. Maybe tell them some of the projects that I'm working on. A little alert the other day.
As you mention it, all the teachers that you mention it to kind of they get that little bit of, oh yes, I heard about it. That Professor Blackrose, that seemed quite the adventurous teaching style.
Well, it's better than going on a field trip, right? You can do everything right here in school.
It certainly means they're closer to the infirmary.
And it was very controlled, right? It's not like actually going into danger.
Well, they do say that if eventually that boy's arm will grow back.
Exactly.
And so as they're circulating around you, you see one of the teachers off to the side, and she's a tall, thin lady who is in, let me see which department. Pull that up real quick. Let's see. Gosh, I wish I had my book. It would be so much easier to get to things. There we go. Department of Foresight. Tall, thin lady who wears traditional wizardy robe, lots of symbols embroidered on it. And I'm going to give her a name. We're going to go ahead and call her. She is the head of the Foresight. And I'm going to call her Professor Tallimon. And you've been here at the school for quite some time. Professor Tallimon is known for making predictions way in the future, far beyond the lifetimes of anyone normally here. And they're always tremendous. I foresee the tree of truth growing up when the sun has turned purple, sort of things. But as you're watching her across the room, you see her kind of sneakily moving over to the dais where the dean had spoken and reaching underneath it and pulling out a round crystal ball, rather small one, putting it up her sleeve. And as she leaves the room, inside of your head you hear the monster mother go, "That's the one, Blaze. She has the key. You should get the key, Blaze. The key."
So I'm definitely following her.
All right. You begin following along behind her as she's kind of peeking, trying to avoid being seen, and turns down a corner. As you reach that corner, you can see a door just closing down the hall. As you move over to it, you see that the door says custodial services. So this is the janitor's closet.
So does it keep me out? Or?
You reach down and open up the door. As it opens, inside there's nothing but brooms and mops, cleaning solutions. One of the brooms sort of steps up. It's animated slightly and comes over to you, sweeping a little as it comes. Starts rubbing up against you. But
was someone just here? I don't know. Can I talk to the broom?
It wiggles around. Why don't we see? Let's find a good move for this. Why don't we have you smooze the broom?
All right.
So you'll be rolling your charisma.
Oh, great. I think that's my highest stat. So roll for your party. Here we go. Are we all going to use the same dice, or should I label mine?
You can label yours off to the side if you'd like.
Okay. I got 8 plus 2 is 10.
Excellent. Oh, fantastic. They'll do something simple for you or something big and complex if you give them payment, favor, or bribe. I think this is a fairly simple thing. And so as you say this, the broom kind of sweeps back a little bit and moves to the back of this little closet and sort of taps its handle against the closet. And kind of as it's tapping, it leaves a little mark that moves over to where you could see there is a small indentation in the wall.
I'll try pushing at it.
You push. And as you do, it click opens. As it swings open, you can see there's a stairway leading down, but the smell that comes up from it is just horrible. Smells of rot and of mildew.
Think I'll definitely start recording this. This is going on my YouTube as I start going down. This smells terrible. On the secret passage in Pigsmoke.
As you head down the stairs, you eventually get to a landing, and the smell has gotten even worse. And on this little stone landing, beside it, there's about an 8-foot wide little channel with water flowing down it and into a tunnel at one end and coming from a tunnel at the other. And the smell coming from this little channel makes you think, oh my, this must be where some of the sewers empty into. You can also see that there's a ring embedded on the platform there, the little area beside it. Probably something was tied up here. But whatever it was is gone now.
Yeah, I think I'm just narrating this because it's helping me with the smell. Just talking about how terrible it is. And I think I'll just say like, oh, I missed it, but I'll definitely check back here later and see. Keep you up to date on the latest in Pigsmoke.
Excellent. All right. Pulling back to you, Antonia. The meeting has broken up. You've had this little chance to meet Titania. What would you like to do?
I guess I will try to get a bit more information on Titania, trying to figure out what am I getting into.
Okay. You're going to ask like fellow teachers. You want to go up to the dean, or you want to go and maybe do a little bit of study about her?
I think this can work with the dean. I'll try to approach the dean after he's done talking with Mortimer. I'll say, oh, I was just talking with Professor Titania and...
magnificent teacher. Magnificent. We're very lucky to have her with us.
I'm not familiar with her work or in which universities she worked at before.
Well, her credentials were wonderful. I'm sure that she told me all of her credentials. But it escapes me at the moment. I know that she's been studying in new teaching techniques. And, well, let me think. I assure you, her qualifications are magnificent. She comes from the Arcadia University. I have to admit, I've never dealt with them much. In fact, I have thus far not really been able to contact them. But I'm sure it's a first-rate establishment. She assured me, and well, you know, I'm certain she is just a magnificent teacher.
Antonia is a bit suspicious of that, but she knows at this point, because the high buy-in of the dean, she tries to pander to his ego and that this is a great idea. Oh, of course, Dean. In fact, she just approached me to speak about those projects. So I guess not only the Dean approves this, he's also willing to support this initiative.
Oh, yes, if you could manage to do some work with Professor Titania, oh, it would be a huge plume in our hat. If we can manage to get her to publish while she's here, oh my, think of the boost to our reputation. Oh, and to you, should you work with such an esteemed colleague.
I mean, Antonia just said, I guess this is my life now. I have to kind of set. I wonder how prestigious a paper is if nobody knows what my colleague is from. But I guess this is my life now. And I use my "this is my life" move because of this event. And I would like to know something interesting and useful about whatever is happening.
Excellent. All right, then.
To the MC.
As you, as the dean is, talking this, first off, it's pretty apparent that the dean would have certainly known her credentials. Something weird has happened in that. But this Arcadia University that he keeps mentioning, something in the books you've read talks about Arcadia, the home of the fairies, another place, another dimension, another realm. And it sparks a little bit of your memory there of the stories of children being taken to Arcadia to serve the fairies, and in their place being left fairy children, or sometimes even horrible little creatures. But it sparks to you the remember of that.
Okay, the moment I remember that, I pull out my smartphone and I send a message to Blaze, because if this involves other realms, this is the domain of CABCA. And as the one guy from CABCA that I know, I sent a message to Blaze. Hey, what do you know about fairies and fairy realms?
Blaze, you received this. What do you do?
Is there a move for like knowing things?
There is delve deeper, which is if you're studying. And then there's things like you can bring up in the narrative stuff that you might know about it. There isn't like a just gain information without study.
Yeah, I think I'll just tell him the basics, right? Like, this is a fairy realm, but obviously they can come into our world too. What exactly do you want to know?
Yeah, I want to know exactly how their interactions with the human world go. You know, these kind of contracts and promises, or whatever means way they get to influence people's mind and how to bind them. This is your turf, right?
It could be. I mean, the mine sounds like the mine department, right? But I don't know the exact contracts, but I do know they exist and they're entities. We can keep our eyes on them. If there's something specific you're worried about.
I'm a bit worried about the students and the dean, but I'll talk with you later. See you for lunch.
See you for lunch.
Okay.
Excellent. Mortimer, as you finish speaking to the dean and he's walked off, what are you going to be doing?
Well, there is this little project me and Antonia have going on, and to test all possible influences we can have on plants to produce minerals. It can take definitely more than half a year or a year. So I think since I unfortunately seen Professor Talemon leave, I think maybe I can know someone a little bit better from the Foresight department.
Okay.
And with the goal of inviting them as a co-author and providing us with some mysterious ways that they have seen in their dreams, how we can do it faster. So do you
That
have
sounds
some
like an excellent idea. Do you think you'd like to go and schmooze someone to see if they can help you? Maybe offer to, I mean, do you want to put them in the research project with you?
Yeah, that's the main idea. I just need the name for this person.
All
So
right.
That's the idea.
All right. So let's put someone in from the Foresight department. I think that you're probably the most approachable. Is one of the professors who's been there for quite some time, and we're going to call him Professor Snee, Snee. And he's one of the old school sort of foresight people. He reads entrails. He throws doves up in the air, and how their poo drops out is how he reads the future. He's very much an ancient prophecy type person. And so going over to speak to him, as you come walking up, he says, "Oh, Professor Blackrose, I knew you would be coming to speak with me."
Oh, Professor Snee, of course, even I wasn't sure about this, but I'm really happy that you know it. So, as you probably also know, I run various projects, and I was wondering that I could really use someone of your expertise on one of these projects to help us speed up the work from years to mere maybe even weeks with your ability to just read this magnificent information from smoke, wood dolls, and everything.
I will say it's been some time since I've done research, but I might be interested in that. Why don't we roll a schmooze and see how well it goes? It's rolling with charisma.
Yeah, that will be very interesting. Mortimer, is there like color black? No, but there's green, color of life. Cool. Yeah, it's a fail. Unfortunately, there is no XP on a fail.
He says, "Well, I could be persuaded to assist, I suppose, but I have so much on my plate at the moment. So many classes I'm teaching, so many students. If someone were willing to take on a class for me, I might could do that. But, I don't know who would be interested in teaching my remedial entrail reading." And he gives you that look of, would you like to take on a whole nother class for him? And I'll say, for our mechanical purposes, for as long as you're taking this on, that'll be a burnout a week for teaching this extra class.
But of course, Professor, it's a wonderful subject. I'd always look for an opportunity to delve deeper into these topics.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Well, then I think I could free up some time. And the two of you discuss, I suppose you say you're working with Antonia.
Yeah. I explained the project about the plants and finding out how to make them produce rare minerals. So,
that sounds fascinating. Yes. Whenever you still have your next meeting with Professor Bandoni, then make sure to call me in. I I'm sure that my insight will be most helpful. And of course, I expect a byline on the research when we decide to publish.
Of course, of course. I think it will be fantastic.
Excellent. All right, then. So I think we're going to kind of drop into that first week of school. So students start arriving, and again, it is that irritating mix of those who are extremely dull and not very bright, who did not do well last term, and those that are really bright and always asking questions and wanting to get ahead. And you're not really sure which is worse. The dull ones at least don't bother you a lot. And so you spend your first week getting to know your classes. Mortimer, you've taken on this extra class, and it's a subject that probably doesn't interest you a lot, and these kids have very little ability to read rabbit entrails to see the future. In fact, most of them just try to throw the entrails around, and invariably it gets blood on your robes, and the smell of it. In this week, if any of you would like, you can actually teach. Would any of you like to teach this week, taking the risk of some burnout there? Mortimer, are you teaching?
Of course, since I'm teaching this class, let's actually put some dice forward to see how it goes.
All right. You're rolling with charisma to teach.
Yeah, I'll have to seriously consider my sorcery. Cool. Well, I made a conscious choice about this. Let's see. Oh, it's actually a 9.
Very
so
good.
So horrible. Yeah, let's.
All right. Focus. So on teach with a 7 to 9, you mark experience. But one of your students will visit your office with a complication or difficult question. If you don't sort them out, the resulting stress and complaints will cause you to mark a burnout box. And I think I'm going to have, as this week has progressed, Sir Jonathan is going to come by your office. Professor, I'm having ever so much trouble understanding. You say that once the spirit leaves the body, we can bind the body or the spirit? I don't understand. If it's not got a body, then what's the spirit doing, sir? And if it doesn't have a spirit, what's the use of the body?
Oh, that is a very interesting question, Mr. Ford. Bodies and spirits. I actually have a very good book about this at my laboratory. I was wondering that maybe you can come by and visit me over there, where we can talk about this particular book, and I can lend you this for study, but it has to stay in my darkest labyrinth. But I think it will do you good, since this topic is very connected between this fortune-telling class and the life class. I listen about life, so.
Wonderful, Professor. Thank you so much. I'll make sure to drop by. And so over the course of the week, he's going to drop by pretty often. And he continually is bringing his experiments from the entrails reading and attempting to raise them, so that you begin finding there are rabbits and frog zombies that are now hopping around inside of your lab. But it sounds like you managed to solve his bit of problem, so I'm not going to have you do burnout, but we will be seeing a bit more of young Jonathan's little zombies popping up in your laboratory. But you can mark an XP.
I can totally see that somewhere, the camera shifts from us talking over this book to the next room, like a typical room in the dungeon, some skeletons and like 2 zombies sitting, and they have like this like rabbits and frogs on like a stick, and just like are like almost like cooking them over the fire. There's like party of dead adventurers cooking dead animals.
I love it.
They forgot that is after LARP and that they are not supposed to be in character anymore. Sometimes they get confused.
Wonderful. Antonia, are you going to teach this week?
Antonia thinks herself very smart on this strategy that works very well on a normal term, but the thing is, on summer term, the sample size is a bit skewed. Because usually what she does is she teaches for the first week, and basically her teaching is dropping a bunch of projects that will keep the students busy for months. And when they come to get clarification, she pretty much drags them for voluntary work in the lab. And she has this strategy. She has prepared a few vanilla folders with different projects that she'll just hand over to the student, give a quick overview, and see them in 3 months. So she goes ahead with this plan and starts teaching.
Excellent. All right. Well, let's roll. That's with charisma. And have you used roll for your party before? Do you need an explanation for it?
I think I'm getting it. I have not used it before, but let's see.
Okay. Yeah, you'll just plug up there in the D6s. Use the box in front of the die type.
Okay,
and
I was already going to do it wrong. Okay. Modifier plus 2.
And then you hit, submit. Wow.
12.
Nice.
12, 14. Okay.
Nice. And I'm going to shift these dice down, and I'm going to save this this room for us. You've got your charisma that you wrote in. You don't have to do what type of roll, but you may end up like we see Mortimer there has got his name and some dice I put underneath it. Later on, if you want to plug in just a label with your name, and then y'all can keep up with your dice, that sort of thing. Oh, but you rolled fantastic. Boxcars 12. So, these kids get their folders. They start looking through them. You see their eyes get wide at these enormous projects you put in front of them. Of course, Professor, we're really looking forward to this. It's you're such a well-known teacher. But you get your XP, and for now, the students are plowing through their projects. So first week goes just like you'd hoped for. And so we go to you, Blaze. Are you going to teach this this first week, or is it all going to be films?
No, I have this this mission to do, like cleaning the school of these entities. So that's obviously a great first week assignment.
That's a good idea. Way to use your students. Bravo.
Yeah.
All right. So
that'll be our lessons, is how to bind and seal away all these entities around the school.
All right. Roll us up a teaching. That's with charisma.
All right.
And I'm going to drop out your old ones there real quick. There. Okay. And so there's your new ones. You rolled an 8 plus your charisma. So a 9.
Right.
And we'll move you down. Oh, I'm sorry. I moved you around. There.
Yeah, we were both trying to move.
Alrighty. And just so that you know, Ludo, whenever you wish, with these that are already down here, if you highlight them and then you roll the green button in the middle of the top, reroll selected, it'll just re-roll them. Occasionally, you'll hit that and it won't seem like it re-rolled them. If we have that go on, just roll it again. you know, it's not a perfect dice roller. It was made by someone, though, that's here in the group, and it does a lot of cool things. It's made by Shane Liebling. I love it. I like using it. But it does have a problem of occasionally it doesn't really reroll. So, just so you know. But with a 9 for you, Blaze, on teaching, you're getting to mark your experience. But I think probably with this complication, are you taking them around in a group? Or are you just dispersing them across the school to start doing bindings?
I think we're going in a group, right? Like these are the lessons. Like
okay,
each day of the week we do a different entity around the school.
All right.
Probably starting with those vampires or whatever I released at the beginning.
Oh, I love that. Okay, cool. So as you're going around and you're managing to rouse up the vampires from their little hiding places, are you killing them? Are you putting them into some sort of sleepy torpor? Are you just saying, you get out of here and ejecting them from the school? What you doing?
Yeah, I think ejecting them from the school, like, magically.
Excellent.
Sure.
And so it's going fairly well until you get back to class one of these days, and one of your students, little Sally Cinnamon, as she is leaving class, you notice her eyes very blank, and as she walks out, you see her look back at you, and she smiles. Thank you, Professor. I'm enjoying this class. And she turns back to the door, and there's a little spider crawling up the side of the door. She reaches out, grabs it, and slides on down the hallway.
Do I know about her? Like, is she actually a student? Or?
She is actually a student and is known to be one of the brighter ones. She's here for extra credit.
All right, something to keep my eye on.
You do. And so we'll remember, and I'll put that in the NPCs if, or you can put her in. But yes, little Sally Cinnamon is acting a bit strange. And so we get through the first week of teaching, and things are going relatively well for everyone. I'm interested to know, Antonia and Mortimer, do y'all wish to work on your research project here in this first week?
Of course. Especially that I definitely hope that Professor Snee came with some more or less narrowed ideas of which components we can use on our plans. So definitely either one of us will be testing them. So
okay. Snee will come in, and he is very excited to actually be working research again. And, looking over the plants you've started working with, he brings out a dove and cuts it open and sprays the blood all over the plant. Ooh, very interesting. He goes over to another plant, cuts open a mouse. Ooh, remarkable. Pulls out a buzzard over a plant. Oh, no, that won't do at all. No. But he will eventually come up with the concept that you should use fruiting plants rather than flowering plants. And that is his addition to the track for this first week. Now, for you guys, if you're wanting to add to it, usually that's done with a delve deeper, which we have a week, so you can take that as a time-consuming, and that would be your week's time-consuming thing. Or if you have some sort of novel, cool idea, if it seems to fit, we can say, that seems good. We can put that in. Or there's always casting a spell, because that'll solve nearly every problem, though it always has something that goes a little wrong with it. I mean, It's magic after all.
Yeah, I'd like to. So I think that Mortimer contribution. Maybe I just like leave Snee and Antonia in the lab, and I just say I will go procure us some more fruity plants because those were I think I'm not sure what were those. They're just like testing, so we need like proper ones. So I'm going to direct my bunch of zombies and skeletons to run through the nearby town, collecting fruit plants, because I can send my bunch of zombies to go and fetch something.
I love it. Are you going to be supervising them, or are you just sending them out?
Well, there's a role, but I don't suppose I'm like I think that they are to some degree intelligent, so I'm just like showing them examples, but then I have to like go back to teaching because I'm doing this extra class. So I'm just like every like morning when they come back, I just like analyze samples and then just you idiots and just like hit them on the head. These are like this is like cabbage, not fruits.
All right then. I think we can go with either a schmooze roll, where we will see if there's complications from you trying to get these undead to find the right thing, or an adventuring roll, where we see what happens to them when they go off.
Well, I have a move, Walking Dead.
Oh, do you? Okay, excellent. Yeah, let's use that.
Yeah, there's a long text, but when you send them to fetch something, roll plus sorcery. On the 10 plus, they come back with it quickly as possible. On a 7 to 9, I have to choose. They come with something that isn't right, come back with the right thing, but take a longer time. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So let's have a roll there.
Yeah, so sorcery, that's my jam, so let's hope for a good result. Yeah, luck is with me, so it's a total of 10. So they come back with it as quickly as possible. So maybe we can even use those fruity plants this week. So that
all right.
Has plenty of samples.
Tell me which one. What fruit do you think is the most seems to have the most promise? Seems to be the best choice.
Me or Antonia?
You. Let's have you do that. Define us down what our plant's going to look like. This will be our second step on the research.
Yeah. So, for some weird reason, is there some weird fruit that anyone has an idea of? I'm just thinking.
Antonia, any suggestions?
Because I wanted to say like the orange trees.
So Antonia, as you go with your zombies, she's like testing you. I don't know, Mortimer. This new guy, I think you're getting the worst part of the deal. I mean, he gets to be a co-author and you teach his class? Come on. You know, as someone that is always being exploited, you're being exploited. Anyway, citronus. Citronus are good. Any kind of citronus.
Okay, yeah. I will send them, and you can see that I'm like getting lack of sleep, like long shadows under my eyes. Yeah, I will send them to collect more citrus. You know, I just want to have this research done as quickly as possible, and then I can tell him to like buzz off. But we need him for this research to be. I need this to be done quickly. So.
All right. So we've got second step. We've discovered we need fruiting plants, and we've decided it must be citrus.
By the way, I made the research track under Antonia character sheet.
Okay, thank you, Cole. And so, Antonia, what are you doing to aid the research?
Okay, Antonia is still a bit doubtful about the contribution because until foresight actually happens, it's worthless, and nothing says that they will not get to that conclusion without him. So she decides to do something that can both have potential for a follow-up paper. Ideally, this one without. So she goes out to the lab, gets the dust off of the gold span machine bombardment machine, starts thinking at it, and decides, okay, a easier fruit plant that I can genetically modify and grow in a week, strawberries. So she starts preparing the bombardment, applies the configurations, asks Mortimer to write the magical formula, and bombards the strawberry and tries to create this arcanally genetically modified strawberry that will fit the parameters that Mortimer is also using for the citrus.
Excellent. That sounds like you might be delving deeper. I think that's kind of a research action.
Or I can suggest also, because I don't know if that's necessarily fitting. I have self-sufficient. When you decide to create something you need, and I can try to create it.
That sounds perfect. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, I roll please research.
Yep. And if you want to, just highlight your 2 and hit reroll selected.
So, okay, so 9.
All right.
I don't know if this is the modifier or not. Rerolling.
You have to add modifier manually.
Yeah, add your modifier. Yeah.
Okay, so it's 10.
10. Oh, fantastic. All right. So with your move, a 10 plus, you've made it and it works. So I think we start to, sounds like you start having all of these mutated strawberries coming up. And some of them are orange, and some of them are green, and some of them are yellow, and they're all very sour. But we begin making our citrus strawberries, and that will fill in our 3rd block of our research. So excellent. So research coming along quickly. With good rolls, y'all might make it all the way through in another week or so. I'm going to go to you, Blaze. What are you doing with your week besides teaching?
I want to research this mind-bending department. They seem to be up to something.
Excellent. Okay. Sound like a delve deeper? Going to go through the books and figure out stuff about them?
Sure.
Okay. So rolling with research.
All right. I don't have great research. It's my worst stat, but that'll be fun. All right. And reroll. Selected. I got a 6.
A 6. So, as you're looking through these books, you can find out that indeed these fairies of Arcadia said to have innate magical abilities. They do things called glamours, which can create illusions and play with people's minds. They're known to be extremely friendly, your books say. In fact, they talk about that fairies love to give gifts, no strings attached. They hand you lovely things just out of the kindness of their small little fairy hearts. And the researcher, the book that you found, talks about that they had a fairy friend that loved them so much that they gave them gifts all the time. You get to the end of the book, though, and it's rather surprising because it just sort of ends. The writing even stops mid-sentence when it says, "I can't wait for my fairy friend to come visit me." And then the sentence ends. But sounds like they're great.
Yeah, I don't know what the other teachers are worried about.
And so, with your week of delving through, we're going to kind of come to the end of our week, and I think we're going to kind of come to the end of our session because I feel like we got our week done. And next time around, we're gonna hop in, and we'll probably get through several weeks and have some more moments in there. I do want to bring up one thing before we end, though, for you, Blaze, in that you are seeing Professor Talaman wandering around the halls more, carrying that little crystal ball. And you'll see her like open up a door and look in and look through the little ball and close the door again. But it just catches you during the course of the week. Do you go up and speak to her, or do you kind of try and start watching her more, or do you go, oh, that's nothing?
Yeah, I was thinking about getting like a what's it called? Like a model release form so I can take videos of her. So I was gonna go up to her to ask about that.
Excellent. All right, you go up to her and she, oh, hello, Professor Galaxy. How nice to see you.
Hello, Professor Talamon. As you know, I'm a well-known figure in the public, like a public intellectual.
You do the little interwebs, don't you?
I do. So I wanted to make sure that you were okay with being in those videos.
She straightens up her robe. Oh my! Do you think that I would look good on the little screen?
I think you would look excellent. I would have to make sure to get the right angle so that you're actually on the screen.
Would you just be coming to my classes?
Well, you know, I'm sure we'll see each other around school as well.
Why don't we roll a smooze to see how willing she's going to be constantly filmed there.
Sure. I got another 6. Great. Does that give me XP?
Sadly, not in this one.
All right.
But she goes, I don't know, Professor Galaxy. Some things that I do are too mystical to be observed. You may feel free to observe my classes, but I would be somewhat bothered if you caught me, well, in a delicate situation. The spirits speak to me, and they can be very jealous of who hears.
I know about speaking with spirits, so I definitely understand. That's why I came to you and asked.
Well, I appreciate it, Professor Galaxy. And she will head off unless you try to say anything else to her. But you're more than welcome to come and film her classes, but she's not going to be delighted if you start following her around for the camera.
Can I try to cast a spell on this crystal ball to like dispel whatever?
You sure can.
Is on it while we're next to each other?
Now, are you going to try and stop it from working? Or are you going to try and figure out what are you using your magic to do?
I think it's about trying to bind the spirit so I can take it back to Mother Monster.
Oh, so whatever is inside of her ball you're wanting to pull out. Oh.
Right.
Ooh, that's high stakes. So roll with sorcery.
Actually, I have a move that lets me roll with bureaucracy instead.
Oh, nice.
So that's a +2.
There are rules. I gotcha.
So I got a 9.
All right. Well, when casting a spell with a 7 to 9, you're going to choose 2 things that will go a little amiss. Your solution becomes someone else's problem. The magic is short-lived or otherwise temporary. The magic affects more than you intended, or something goes wrong and you get hurt?
I like the solution becomes someone else's problem, and I'll get hurt.
All right. Then as you cast this, I guess you're trying to be sneaky so she doesn't know. You feel the spirit kind of move towards you. And as it leaves the ball, you feel your arm growing numb. And she's turning around. I'll be seeing you, Professor Galaxy. And as she walks away, your arm begins pulling up black blotches on it that almost immediately begin to rot and smell. And your arm is all tingly. So for right now, we're going to say you have rot arm as a hurt, but this spirit has moved into you for you to talk to, and I think we'll have our starting bit be dealing with your arm and the spirit within you next time. Sound good?
Great.
Excellent. All right, then. Well, guys, that's where I think we're going to end our session. As I said before, we don't exactly have an end of session questions, I don't believe, for this one. We get our stuff through teaching and through research, but all of you got 1 XP for teaching this time around. We have some research working its way up. You should think about, too, Asher, if you want to, you can kind of work in, if you want to start a research project about, what you're going down there studying. That's perfectly fine if you intend to publish it.
All right.
And I want to go just real quick and I'm not going to do a Roses and Thorns for this one because first session, bit of info that I think Roses and Thorns is going to give us. But I wouldn't mind doing maybe a quick wishes and stars. Stars, if there was something you really liked and would like to see more, or something that somebody was doing and you thought was really, that was awesome, I'd like to see it, keep on it. That's our stars. Wishes are things that, now that we're getting into it, I'd like to see in next session or see over the arc coming up. Things I thought are neat or would like to, would be interested in knowing about. So I'm going to start with you, Pavel. We'll start with stars. Any stars you'd like to give out?
Stars were the things we want to see more of, yes?
Stars are really just, I thought this was cool. I thought you did a cool thing here, that sort of thing. It's a rose.
Yeah, I really like. I really liked a little adventuring side of Blaze. It was really interesting. We were like very sciencey, and he was very adventurous. So it was good to see both in one game.
Cool. Ludo, any stars you saw during the session?
I agree with the adventuring side, and if Pavel had not mentioned, I would. Another thing that I particularly liked was the 2 scenes with the students. I think they really gave a lot of flavor to Pigsmoke, and we explore Mortimer and Blaze a bit more as characters, also how they interacted. I really liked it.
Cool. Excellent. And Asher, any stars?
I like the text messaging because it gave a real flavor, like we're friends and actually working together to help these students, but also set the time period, right? Like this is modern. Mm-hmm. We actually use technology, even if we're doing all this weird magic stuff.
Cool. I agree. And my stars, I like every one of these characters y'all come up with. I think they're all different, and I think they're cool. And I think as we play along, we're going to see some really neat personalities out of them. And another star that I'd like to put out there is I appreciate that, it's a new system. I don't know if any of y'all have played it before. I've played it in a shorter sessions. We're going to have to kind of get the feel for it ourselves. I appreciate you guys really jumping into it and, trying to feel it out with me. I appreciate that a lot. So for wishes, and wishes are things you'd like to see coming up, things that you thought were neat and I would like to see more of. Pavel, any wishes?
I would wish to see more description from us when we approach the smooth or casting spell. Like, what do we actually say, and what do we actually do?
Gotcha. So we get more into the moment and actually have that role play going on.
Yeah, we know which move we are triggering, but like, what do you actually say to this character, or like how do you cast it, and so on.
Cool. I will definitely work on that. Luda, any wishes for sessions coming up?
I think it's normal now for this establishment, and for sure it will be coming back. But Titania is more of an active character, as well as the fairies and its influence, and less reactive depending to what we do. So that over the weeks we see weird fairy stuff that is happening independent of us or not. I think that really rises her as clearly a transformative influence on the college.
Cool. And I do intend for us to see a lot of her influence in the fairy. And Asher, wishes for what's coming up?
I think I would like to see more places defined. Like I set my classroom as a suspiciously normal classroom, so I'd like to see how the other classrooms are abnormal. That's kind of a wish for myself. And then we also defined all these neat monsters, so I'd like to see more like physical entities than all these spirits and stuff.
Cool. I like that idea too, and I'm going to try and use some of Jason Cordova's paint the scene stuff. I'm gonna have us a lot of opportunity to really describe out the oddnesses and the weird juxtaposition of, okay, yeah, we've got a computer and we also have a little demon that runs around telling us information. All of these sort of strange offsets that go on in a modern magical college. Cool.
That's great.
And wishes for me, I'm hoping that I can make sure that I spread the spotlight enough that everybody's getting stuff and doing things and keeping us moving. I wanted to do a smaller group. I usually do 4. I felt like 3 was perfect. That way we can all be getting out neat and constant things going. And a final wish, I want to see interactions between you guys. I want to see us dealing with each other. So I want to give opportunities for that. So that's a wish that I'm going to try and push. Well, thank you all for playing so much. Hope y'all had fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. And being a professor at the university, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was very fun. It's good to actually be part of, part of a Gauntlet game.
I'm so glad you're here with us.
And it's kind of cathartic, working on academia and then adding magic to it, but still is dealing with the same bullshit.
Yeah, there's something really cute about Pigsmoke. There's just something really fun about it. All right, then. We'll be back again next week, and I look forward to seeing you all. I will make sure to put some things up in the Character Keeper when I go back and review, make sure we have all those up. I'll try and do that the next couple of days. If there are things that any of you remember or want to add in there, feel free to put things up there all through the week. And we have our event page, so if ideas pop up or things you're interested in or just to chat between us, feel free to use that. And so I will see y'all in another week.
Have a nice week.
Bye, y'all.
It looks like it's all 3 of us for all the sessions. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I think we stay in one team.
Yeah, this is my first time actually doing like a long-term Gauntlet game, so I'm excited to see like what multiple sessions bring.
4 sessions long term. Oh yeah.
But for the Gauntlet.
Yeah, that's actually long. Bye.
Bye.